wanna do a test to see if you're focused. Let me see you get free. Hey everybody, welcome to the Juliet Kamanga show, and I hope you're doing well. It is South African Pride Month, which is amazing. I kind of wanted to educate almost, on how we need to kind of do better in different communities, whether you're heterosexual, whether you actually are queer, and whether you're cisgendered. I need to talk to y'all about a few things, because as a queer person, it doesn't make sense that I don't talk about queerness on Pride Month. I mean, I talk about queerness all the time, but it's very important that I talk about queerness in a month that is supposed to be about awareness to queer people. I know a lot of people might turn away from this video because they don't want to hear the truth. And again, it's your own prerogative. You're allowed to go and not believe in what I believe in. I'm not trying to make people believe in what I'm trying to say, but I think it's important that we educate ourselves as people so we can do better. Let's start with the heterosexuals. You are technically in three categories to me, right? Homophobes, the impartial people, and the allies. And I want to talk to all three groups. I don't understand you. You know when you say you don't understand us, I don't understand you. You literally waste a lot of energy hating on people who are just kind of doing their own thing. Like, queer people are just like, I'm going to live my life. And you're like, fuck that. You must die. Or like, I'm going to take you to church so you can convert. Or like, everyone's gay. It's weird. A lot of the times I don't understand what you guys are going on and on about, right? A lot of your energy is based on hating a group of people that don't even care about you. And I specifically also want to talk to black homophobes. For some reason, you guys understand racism. You understand the problems with race politics. But for some reason, you do not see that you are mimicking the same thing when you are black homophobes and transphobes. You are literally, it's the same formula. All of you. You don't think you can oppress people, so you think what you're saying is fine. It's like, I'm an oppressed group. Therefore, I can't oppress anyone. No, actually. You being heterosexual means that you have an advantage in the world, right? And it does mean that you can oppress people who are not like you by bringing them down. The fact that you don't allow queer people in your space, or you say things like, I don't care for queer people, but if they get in my face, I'm gonna beat them up. And you guys all defend that rhetoric. It is problematic. Like breathe and be like, yo, I'm hating people. They're living rent-free in my mind. Me hating them is like a full-time job. Because it's true, hating someone is a full-time job. To hate someone, you really have to participate. The same way that if you love someone, you kind of have to participate. You know what I mean? Like, you're participating in hating a group of people that exist, that are natural, and you cannot do anything about it. You can kill off all the queer people now, and you give birth to new people. There will be more queer people. Do you know what I mean? That is how natural it is. And for some reason, to you, it just doesn't make sense. So it doesn't make sense to a point where you're going to hurt and harm and insult. And what benefit do you get from being a homophobe? What exactly does it change? Then there's the middle ground, the ones who are like, I play devil's advocate, I don't have an opinion, I'm tolerant. And I'm gonna say straight up, I do not like people who say they're tolerant. Tolerance is just that you're afraid to be a hater. I'd rather deal with a homophobic straight person than a tolerant one, because at least I know where you stand. Like, tolerant people are too afraid to say they're homophobic and don't want to be an ally. What are you? I don't know, people like, I just don't want to talk about it, I just want to get into it. It's not my thing. I'm not saying speak for queer people, but if a heterosexual person is being homophobic, you're like, oh, that's not my politics, but I'm not going to get into it. And I don't even mean for safety reasons. I mean just like you don't want to ever talk about things because it's too much for you. Great, your life is so amazing. You don't have to worry about people being, phobic towards you. You're just perhaps not as violent as straight up homophobes. And when I say violent, everyone assumes that I mean like physically violent, like you beat up gay people, but also your words and just the actions towards can be problematic. Like if you don't want a gay person to touch you, that's homophobic. If you don't want to talk to gay people, that's homophobic. If you go around saying it doesn't make sense and it's unnatural, that's homophobic. Like, you don't want to watch things because they're gay people, that's homophobic. And you don't realize it because you think you can't oppress people, whatever. The point is, y'all tolerant people, I don't like you. I'm sorry, like, pick a side. It's like a person being like, when it comes to sexism, I'm tolerant. What does that mean? Do you know what I mean? Oh, race, I'm tolerant. What good does being tolerant do? It's actually as violent because you're not going to even help anyone. And then to my allies, y'all are great. Y'all keep fighting the good fight. But I need to say one thing real quick. please do not make things about you. It's not about you at all. All oppressed groups need allies because the allies sometimes help get us up. It sucks because it's like that whole thing of like, you know, it's like men who only listen to men about women issues. I'm not saying the man must talk for women, but he must get women to the platform to help talk for themselves. It sucks a lot, it cringes my throat, but sometimes we have to admit that sometimes allyship really, really does help a lot because people are so problematic. But you need to also remember that the conversation is not about you. You being an ally does not need to be applauded every day. And it's okay. You want applause for being an ally when that's just about human decency. Because technically that's what being an ally is. It's literally you just not being problematic and you being a human and being like other people are humans. And I need to make sure that they can live life the same way that I do. And that's very important. But at the same time, it's not about you. You do not need a medal for being an ally. You do not need a round of applause for being an ally. And it's okay. You did the job, you did the good work, you did the thing of being a good human. For example, someone's like hashtag trans lives matter and they explain a story about being trans in a specific space. You retweet it and people see it. It helps. I'm not saying retweeting is the whole thing of allyship, but you did your job. Also, there's a very big difference between allyship and fetishizing. I have to have a queer best friend. I only hang out with queer people. Queer people are cool. Better than being heterosexual. I wish I wasn't straight. I wish, like, it's weird. Be okay with your straightness and just keep moving. You're straight. It's fine. And now it's time for the queers. The people that I love. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm so problematic. Now it's time for my people. I need to talk to y'all too because you thought you could get away, but no, we need to talk about these things. Because the thing about pride is that we need to understand what we're doing right and wrong as a community. And again, it's the same conversation of you think you can't oppress in a community because you're so oppressed, but the thing is you have to remember the privileges that you face. Now let's start with gay men especially, because this is very important and I don't know how to stress this enough. Y'all can still be sexist. The reason this is important is because amongst the queer community they are women. But also there are people who, as much as you may not want them sexually, desire them sexually, or want to be with them romantically or anything like that, doesn't mean that just because you get rid of that equation they are no longer useful. You have to be careful of the things you say. It's not funny when you say that vaginas are fish. I'm saying this because I've heard so many gay men say this. It's not funny. You are insulting us. You're hurting our feelings. Just because you don't want to have sex with us doesn't mean that we are no longer useful or human, right? Our proximity to you is not how much you desire us. So just because you lack the desirability to women does not mean that we're no longer important. Like, it's problematic and you need to look into yourselves and realize what you're saying is not good. When it comes to lesbians, and I'm saying this specifically to lesbians because I've hung out with a lot of lesbians compared to like any other queer group, to be honest with you, I've noticed that there's a lot of biphobia in both, like, you know, gay and lesbian people, but a lot in lesbian groups that I've noticed. Because it seems like lesbians have an insecurity that as bisexual women are going to leave them for a man. And it's confusing to me because I don't understand what it is about people that they think that bisexual people want to cheat on them. If you cheat on someone, it has nothing to do with your sexuality. If you're promiscuous, it has nothing to do with your sexuality. Okay, what is your sexuality? That's it. But it has nothing to do with your sexual orientation. It's all to do with you as a person, what you are. If you're polyamorous, it has nothing to do with your sexual orientation. Like, you know what I mean? These things are just insulting again. Like, I've had lesbians be like, so what are you saying? Like, you see a man and you're like, I'm attracted to him. And you see a woman, you're like, I'm attracted to her. How does that make sense? And it's like, what's the question? Like, I'm attracted to people. I don't really understand what the issue is. Life is on a spectrum. The same way, even as a lesbian, you could have been attracted to a man you slept with, but not full on. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't mean you're not a lesbian. And that's another thing as lesbians that I've noticed y'all do to each other, which is shit, is that you have this shit like gold star lesbians. That's weird. That's a very weird term. Just because you've only ever had sex with women, okay? Step once. I really don't understand. Why do you make lesbians feel bad because they slept with people of different genders? It's how you find out that you like this and you don't like that and you like the, you know, a bit of this and a bit of that. Doesn't mean you're bisexual. Doesn't mean you're anything you're not. If you are a lesbian, you're a lesbian, and it's fine. It it doesn't mean anything. The same thing with bisexuality. I'm dating a man. I'm not less queer. I'm still queer. I'm just dating a man because guess what? I like all the people, which means I will date all the people. Well, I mean my boyfriend, but you know what I mean? Like, there was a possibility that I'll end up with a man. If you're a gay man who has slept with women, who has a kid like Somizi with a woman, it's fine. It doesn't matter. You're still gay. And we love it. We love to see it. You tried and you didn't like it. You as a person, the way you experience life is very different, and we need to stop holding ourselves to standards. We need to really do better. We can't be like cis heterosexual people and fight each other because we're not a particular type of way. The same thing with heterosexual people. You need to experiment, guys. You don't know yourselves. You really don't. Just because you sucked a dick doesn't mean that you're gay as a man. It just means you sucked a dick, and then maybe you don't like it, and maybe you do. But it doesn't mean you want to have sex with men all the time. Do you know what I mean? If you have a friend who you find kind of attractive, and you want to suck his dick, and he's okay with it, and you want to try, then do it. Maybe you'll find out something interesting about yourself, but you'll never know because you're like, I want to be a real man. You're real. Do you not have flesh? You are a man. What the hell does that have to do with anything? Another conversation I'd like to have that might touch people's souls and make people offended, but I'm okay with it and I'm gonna risk it all. Pansexuality and bisexuality are the same thing. Now wait. I'm not invalidating pansexuality, and if you identify as a bisexual person, you're not invalid. But I do think that the two words are interchangeable, and they mean the same thing. And the reason I'm saying this, right, is because if you don't want to date trans people, it is transphobic. There's no special term for it. If you're attracted to people because they are trans, it is a fetish. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're attracted because you're trans, you're fetishized. I hate that word. Bisexual people are described as people who are attracted to the same gender as themselves and the opposite gender as themselves, right? Which is a very binary description. Now, obviously, this term was made so long ago, and since then has been corrected to being all other people. Pansexuality is described as people who are attracted to people regardless of their sex, gender, and all the likes, right? It's the same thing. The same way aubergine and eggplant are the same vegetable. If you're a bisexual person and you don't want to date a trans person, it's because you are transphobic. Nah? Does that make sense? First and foremost, and correct me please if I'm wrong, the term woman with an X to replace the E is a problem. I keep seeing trans people saying they don't like the term, yet everyone uses it willy-nilly every day. I get it, we don't all see the same conversations, and maybe some trans people are like okay with it and they don't really give a shit. You know, I think for the sake of everybody, we need to just stop using it because it makes other people uncomfortable. Or like they don't feel like it's including anyone because you're just using the same word that doesn't describe them. We also need to understand that, and this is why I'm saying this, Nay. I'm a cis-gendered woman. I am born a woman. I am a woman. Why is it easy for you to understand me saying something like that when someone's like, I am a woman, but I'm also trans, and you're like, sure, she identifies as a woman. No, she is a woman. It's not, you know what I mean? Like, you are. You know, I don't identify as a woman, I am a woman. So the same thing when people versus trans women especially say that this is who they are, trans men say this is who they are. We just need to change our vocabulary, you know, sometimes the way we speak. Also, saying they and them is really the easiest thing to do. And now it's like openly being spoken about, and it's beautiful. You should be more aware. It's so easy. It's really not that difficult to say they, them. It's not that difficult to say to someone with boobs that he is he and him. Do you know what I mean? Because the thing is, we're thinking too binary, it's either this or it's that. It's not that hard to respect people. It really is, like, I don't know how else to say it. It really isn't that difficult to just respect how people are. Not identify as, but are. They are. We made words to describe things. And it's the most disappointing thing because in South Africa, a lot of languages are technically, they use non-binary terms all the time. Pronouns don't actually exist in Zulu. Again, why is it important what's between someone's legs? That's very weird. It's a very, very weird conversation. It's the reason that people like Caster Semenya are going through what they're going through. And if you don't know someone's pronouns, just say they and them. It's a very good way to practice. It really is. it just rolls off your tongue. It's really not that difficult. They do this. I mean, if you make a mistake because yes, you've had 20 years, 40 years of your life saying he and she, it's okay. Just correct yourself and keep it moving. Don't also disregard someone's pronouns just because they did a crime. Don't disregard someone's pronouns because you don't like them, because that's still problematic. We must always respect people. Always give people the right to be their damn selves without any issue, without any hesitation, without it being a difficult thing. I don't know. I just feel like we need to do better, and it really, and the thing is, the reason it hurts me is because I can see how much people are tired. Like, they're tired of fighting for their rights. Do you know what I mean? Like, we keep saying we're fighting for human rights as people, but the minute these human rights don't align with who you specifically are, then you disregard them. You don't realize you're the same as oppressors. People like Chimamanda busy saying trans women don't know the real experience of being a woman because they used to be a man. It's fucking problematic. They never used to be a man. They've always been women. Do you not get it? Do you not understand? You really need to sit back and understand, why do you feel this particular way about particular groups? Why is it that non-binary people annoy you so much? Why is it that you'll never date a trans person, be friends with a trans person, talk to a trans person, respect a trans person? Do you know what I mean? Why is it that gay men offend you? Why is it that lesbian butch women offend you? Why is it bisexual women threaten you? Why is it bisexual men are the bane of your existence? Because I've heard someone say that before. You know what I mean? Why is it we get a joke about bisexual men as if they don't matter? Like, why do trans women have to look like cis women? Who said that has to happen? Why? Like, we really, really, really need to do better as a society. It can't be that there's gay bars but there's no lesbian bars kind of thing, you know? It can't be that there has to be gay bars because there's no space for gay men to be safe in this country. It can't be that trans people have to do sex work because that's the only way they're going to get what they need, the only way they're going to get rights. It can't be that it takes years for someone to change the F on their identity to an M. Do you know what I mean? Like, it can't take long for trans people to be safe in the bathrooms that they feel safe in. It can't take long for us to accept that people want MX on their identity documents. Like, it can't take long for us to realize that this stuff needs to be taught at schools. Kids need to know about queerness from the get-go, so there's no confusion and they don't turn into us. So I'm gonna say goodbye, good night, and that's on period.